Thank you for joining me for this episode of The Wild Sonnets Out Loud. My name is Nicholas Korn, and I am the poet of the Wild Sonnets. There are now over 600 wild sonnets published into 6 separate books, with a 7th volume of 100 new poems slated for release in August 2024, this summer. I'm going to start this reading with a poem from the Wild Sonnets, Volume 4. It's a rumination about how we decide to remove things from our lives that no longer serve the visions we have for our futures. With that said, here is Wild Sonnet 326. How carefully the question comes of what to leave behind, a timid voice and calling that can be shouted down by the tenor of a breeze, fearful of its one request, to rummage through our bag of habits and abandon what we barely need, unpack of all but purpose to proceed. And yet it will approach and it will point to the tattered particulars we long ago assumed as corporal to our person, hungers that held us, satin self-conceits, so threadbare it is we who keep them warm. Yet I will surrender every anchoring that weighs more than hope can carry into distant days. And that was Wild Sonnet 326 from the 4th book of Wild Sonnets. My next selection is from the 5th volume. One winter's morning a few years ago, I came downstairs to find the window in the storm door to our kitchen broken due to a sudden freeze. And it scattered into hundreds of pieces on the pavement outside. This poem takes the incident into a more metaphorical territory. This is Wild Sonnet number 486. How shall I this shattered pane piece back together, unshard and fit the brokenness again as one? Let remembrance hold the window that it was a while and then give way. Acknowledge that destruction has settled in to stay. Sweep then the fragments to the side, rattle them into the bin, and lower the lid to hide. And next, on what replacements will be made decide. Let imagination on its papered skin set down what might be done. Scribble in its airy ink, visible only in the days to come, what out of absence may be composed. Let me perceive, out of what now is breaking, as a moment open to another making. And that was Wild Sonnet number 486 from the Wild Sonnets, Volume 5. I hope you've enjoyed the 2 poems featured in this reading. If you would like to see the newest Wild Sonnets I'm writing, I share them on Substack every week. If you'd like to receive those in your inbox, please join me on that platform at www.wildsonnets.com. And if you're curious about the other Wild Sonnets in the 2 books presented in this episode, you'll find them in the Wild Sonnets bookstore. I have placed the link to the bookstore in the description section to this post. And finally, I just want to thank you for watching. I'll be back with 2 more Wild Sonnets in a couple of days. Until then, stay wild and stay well.